So made another post and everything. I thought that's what I'm gonna do, since I doubt anyone's gonna actually find my account. Because I want to say I made another account just to see if I could find it. Man, that shit is so difficult. Like, I would generally have to follow said person for them to actually find it. Like, even with you spelling it correctly, there's still so many more. There's so many that are like it. It's insane. But the fact that no one knows what my like the avatar is, because like I've switched it a couple of times. Like, I've switched it. I've done a bunch. So, but yeah, I'm kind of set on the one I want, at least for what the account is made for. But I did a post. It's called, well, it's funny because, it's the title for it is "Don't Throw in the Towel So Early. Even if they leave, wait for them. Why? I got you." It reads this: "Don't throw in the towel so early." That's the title. And they say, "Stay with me, okay? I know with certain circumstances, some things don't make up for whatever was done. But think about it like this: everything you and that person have been through, all the ups and downs. And in no way am I saying to stay in the past. All I'm saying is, do you love said person? Your heart knows what it wants. Your heart knows who it beats for. So if they leave, don't get so hasty because they could be lost themselves. And they just need to step back for a minute and think. Something that something that something that helps. Something that Okay, let me hold on. Where is it? Something that something that could help. Something that could help is asking them for an open discussion where no matter what you say everything that's on your mind. If they agree, you could see where they're coming from. You can see where they're coming from. Yeah, you can see where they're coming from. Don't throw away something that don't throw away something that could be fixed with a simple conversation. Okay. And it's true in a sense. It really is. Open open discussions are probably one of the best things, and I didn't know about them for a while. I didn't know about them until I got into the military, because it's like when we first had it, it was more or less of like, I guess for like now there's like different ranks and everything, but like with an open discussion, it's like everyone's just in a room. It's like if we all met it. It's like if we were all friends for years, you know? Like it's just an open discussion where it's just like everyone says everything that is, you know, on your mind, or whatever the case may be. I mean, it does help. It's something I've asked before, like about it and everything. It's definitely something that does in fact help. It's it's not something that will help a lot of the. That's not like it won't help a lot of the time, but it's definitely something that definitely does help people kind of understand where it is that they're coming from, where like certain people are coming from. So like if you are confused on something, you have an open discussion. You you should at some point it'll come out. There's no with open discussions. It's more or less talking, and that's it. Like you kind of one person asks the question and another person answers it, and then you kind of just go based off of that. And then eventually it kind of um, rolls into like a full conversation where y'all basically say everything that is currently going on and everything. But there's another one. There's a bunch that I plan on doing. Of course, I'll probably find. Oh goodness. I'll probably find more to actually do these with, but this is definitely something I'm gonna do. And then, cause um, I'll post them to my other account, and then I will make a video on them, basically talking more in depth about them. Basically, that's why I read. That's why I read the what the caption is, which is something that I could put like what I wrote in the description, which is actually might be something I might do if I'm being honest. That makes more sense to me. Just so you don't have to rewind it over and over again. You can just kind of read it at your own pace, and you don't have to listen to me not understand certain words. But anyways, oh goodness, it's one of those things where it's like I understand certain. It's one of those things where it's like I won't say certain things aren't fixable because everything can be fixed. Everything can be fixed. And if you don't believe me, because most people say like, "Oh, what about cheating? What about cheating? What about having an affair? What about this, that, and the other?" I would recommend a channel that is called Ant D Sply, ANTDSPLY. Ant Ant Display. They basically talk about everything because they went through it. I haven't watched them. They have a YouTube channel where you can probably watch. I've seen some of the videos. Well, I've seen like how long they are. They're only like 20-ish minutes. At least the ones that I've seen. They're only 20 to 30 minutes, and that's pretty much it. But they basically talk about like everything. Like they literally do. They talk about everything. I might put their link in the description because it might be easier. I think I can actually do that. I think if I can find how to do that. But yeah, we got like 8 minutes, 37 minutes. Like it's not like a lot of things. But it's the fact that they've been through the whole thing of like how what you call it works. What is that shit? What is that shit called? God damn. Like how like not how affairs work, obviously, but they more or less talk about not how affairs work because they went through that whole thing, that whole affair thing. Like basically the husband, it was basically like the husband was having an affair and all that jazz. But it was deeper than that. Obviously, you'd have to watch the video. I've seen clips and bits and everything, but it's the fact that they still like got through it and everything. Which I'm not saying, and obviously they also say like they're not like it's not something that's for everyone, but it's something that they looked at it and was just like, we can get through this. But it's one of those things where it takes time. That's their big thing, and that was the thing that sucks for me because I don't. It's the fact that I would like to know a certain amount of time. Doesn't have to be like an exact time. Like you don't have to tell me like, oh, like 2 days from now at like 12. Like you can say like 3 years or something. Like I don't be like, all right, good to know. Probably the only other question I'll ask is like 3 years from now, like right now. So like if it's like January 2nd, like 3 years from like now, so January 2nd, 3 years from now, basically. And you say yeah, then it's like okay, I have a roundabout, idea, put that shit in my notes or put that shit on my calendar, and then, you know, proceed on because I have a genuine thing. Because it doesn't have to be, you know, 6 months, 1 month, you know. I don't know what it was like for theirs, but they just said it was a long, long time. They probably do mention it, or at least how long it took. I do not know. But it's the fact that they do talk about a lot. They basically talk about that whole thing. They oh my god, they talk about so much. But it's just it's one of those things where it's just like I thought the same thing of like, oh, not many things can be saved from a relationship or a marriage or whatever the case may be. But it's the fact that it's the only thing that's a deal breaker that can't be fixed is when it comes to like either the woman or the man is like fond of children. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't think I need to get into more depth than that. You can kind of put the pieces together, if I'm being generally honest. But that's to me that's the only thing that can't be like fixed. You know what I mean? Cause like yeah, that's just something that's just like meh, that's a little weird. Like that's not no, that's just no, just no. I can't with that. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's just like everything except for that could be fixed. But it's just this fact that it's the fact that to it takes two people to like want it to be fixed. Like it's not the fact that it has to be one or the other. It's the fact that it takes both. So both parties have to like actually agree to like make it work. That's where the whole open discussion comes into play. Is because when you have an open discussion and you say everything that you're thinking of, everything that you're feeling, and everything, and tell them at the end of the open discussion, you should both of you should have a genuine idea on what if you want to continue moving forward as a couple, or if it would be better for y'all to just go your separate ways, or go your separate ways for right now, make date other people, live your life, so on and so forth. But at some point, you cross paths again. You know, so there are three different options that you can choose. I'm sure there's probably more, if I'm being honest. But it's the fact of there are options. Like if something happens, you can just cut that person completely out. But it's more or less of it makes you seem like everything has to be perfect. Like everything has to be super perfect. Like it's like you make one mistake, you're fucking gone. You know what I mean? But it takes. I'm not gonna lie to you. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. Like a relationship that's still going now with one of my buddies. Oh my fucking god! I thought I'm dissenting. I'm dissenting. I'm getting off topic, but I'll get back on topic in a second. But it's the fact that his whole relationship, I was just like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening? Like because like she was just, they just didn't match. I feel like they didn't. They really did. In the beginning, they didn't match at all. Like they were together, but it's the fact that like they would match each other's energy in the sense of like, oh, he did something wrong, well now she's gonna do that exact thing. Oh, she did something wrong, now he's gonna do that exact thing. Which was just weird because it was just like every other day, like every like 2 weeks, something was going on, or like she was crying, or he was just fucking upset. And for some fucking reason, I was in the middle of it for some reason. I'm just like, why? Why am I here? Like, genuinely, why? I think I got to a point before where I was just like, y'all should just break up because this doesn't make sense. And then at some point, I was just like, you know what? When are both of y'all free? Like to have like either a conversation, either like a call, like a phone call, or y'all meet at like a park or something. Like when, like what days do you have where you can like have a good majority of the day that you have nothing? Like there's nothing that you have to do, and y'all can actually meet up and talk. And that's when I kind of brought up. That's when I brought up the open conversation thing, and they had it, and it was smooth sailing from there. Like they had, I will say they did have some hiccups, of course, but I think that open discussion kind of showed them both that they can be, they can be like, they can be open and honest to each other. Cause I was there for like a good little minute, and the shit they were talking about was just like, okay, I'm gonna go home now, cause what the fuck is going on? I feel like y'all have the idea, but it's the fact that it kind of showed them that they can be open with each other, and not like not to expect there to be um like backlash between either him or her, where like they would get mad because of this, because it was like that for a minute. Like I was just like, trust the process. And then when it was actually looking good, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go because y'all understand it. Y'all very quickly understanding it, and I'm not trying to be here right now to hear it. But yeah, but now and now they dated for 5 years. They got married. I want to say they got married. When did they get married? I wasn't able to attend their wedding, of course, because I was busy. But I want to say they got married like, I want to say they got married like a year after we graduated high school. Yeah, I think they got married a year after we graduated high school, and now they have their second, like they're on their second kid now. Like I want to say it's what? I want to say it's a boy. The first one was a girl, and then the second one is a boy. And from what I've been hearing from the grapevine, like they're doing perfectly fine. And it's funny because they mentioned me in their like thank yous for like the family and everything. I want to say one of my other buddies went because he had nothing to do, so he was like, fuck it, why not? But yeah, he told me that, and I was just like, good to know that I was able to help y'all in something that I didn't even think y'all were even gonna last in, cause Jesus. But yeah, it was, you know, it made me feel good, cause I was definitely like everyone else in the sense of just like, why the fuck are they still together? Like Jesus, like what is going on? But it's the fact that I decided, you know what, let's just it's the final push. Let's see what happens. So, and everything worked out in the end. They're happy, I'm happy. Well, they're happy, I'm just kind of here, but that's besides the point. They're happy, they have their family and everything, and that's all that really mattered, really. So, but yeah, it's one of those things where just like an open discussion can definitely help. Like if you both take time, it's the fact it doesn't have to be like super soon or whatever the case may be. Like you could meet for coffee. You could meet, I don't know, you could be fuck if I knew. You could be dropping something off. You could like like it's more or less of just like how much do you love that person. You know? That's basically what matters. That's the main thing that matters with that is it just takes it takes just it takes like having to trying to change your mentality in a sense. But I think I kind of got lucky with those two because like their mentality was basically the same. It was more or less of like, oh, whatever you do to me, I'm gonna do back to you. But they never talked about anything. They never talked about how it made them feel. They just would, oh, like, oh, you did this? All right, I'm gonna do that, and that was it. So it's just a constant, cycle over and over again. But yeah, yeah, definitely open discussions definitely do work. I will say that they do. They work because at the end they work and simply because at the end of the conversation you both should know. Obviously don't like obviously you're not a hive mind, so you don't know what each other is thinking, but definitely like when it's towarding the end of the conversation and you know it is and you're kind of just like don't know, there's not much else to really say because you've already said everything. Definitely like end end it off with like, so what do you want to do, you know? Because two people can have different things. Like one person could want to wait until later on, another person could want to be, another person could want to, try again. You know, it's just two different people, two different mindsets, two different situations that's going on. You know, but it's one of those things where like, it's one of those things where like it's like when if you are trying to, if you do want to wait until later in life to meet and everything and then I don't know, date, get married, whatever the case may be, is the fact of you don't have to like be single that whole time. You know what I mean? Like you can still experience everything. It is the fact that you both should, like it's something you both should be doing. But it's one of those things where it's just like there's no given date on like when y'all will cross paths again. But it's one of those things where it's your paths will cross again at some point. And at that point, it's a make or break of like what do you want to do, you know? Because I'm not saying you don't have to. Because I would say it will be hard. Because it will in the beginning it will be hard because you'll keep thinking about it all the time. You will. But it's more or less of just like something I've always thought about is simple like this. Like if you married someone else and then like let's say 2 to 3 years later you saw that person that you saw that person that you had that open discussion with and you had y'all's final decision. Let's say 2 to 3 years after you've been married, you run into that person, at a coffee shop or at the grocery store or something like that. It's more or less of how are you going to feel when you see them? Like, is your heart gonna race? Are you not? Are you just not gonna feel anything? Like what do you think is gonna happen? Because if you don't talk to a person for however long, and you've done all these things and whatever, and then you finally like your paths finally cross once again. Like, how are you gonna feel? Like generally, how are you gonna feel? How are you gonna take it? Like, that's all. Like that's basically it for that. It's just how are you going to take it if that is to happen? Like, obviously, people have some people would just be like no. Other people would probably cheat. Other people would probably get a divorce. There's a lot of different things, but it's just like it's one of those things where it's just like I'm telling you, if that's something that does happen, you could be cold about it. You could be not caring about it. but I bet you like 5, $10 that you'll definitely think about what happened. Like for the next like week, 2 weeks, it'll definitely be something that crosses your mind. Like, huh? It is. It's definitely something that will have you thinking, because it's just like, damn, the fuck, like, but yeah, that's pretty much all I really got to say about that. I'll be making more as the day goes on, because obviously I ain't got nothing else to do, so I'm just gonna do that basically. Add to my, add to my advice um, profile basically. But yeah, there'll definitely be another one after this. There'll probably be a couple more after this. But that's pretty much how I'm gonna do this. Is like this. So, but yeah, I'll see y'all in like either a few hours or a few minutes. I don't know. It all depends on when I'm finished, basically. Finish typing. Well, finish thinking, then finish typing, and then finish like rereading it, making sure it actually makes sense. But yeah, I'll talk to y'all later.